What up, boys and girls? We're back after a weird couple days of baseball. Had a pretty light slate yesterday. One of the evening games rained out. Like it's just been a weird day. Rip to all the AJ fans out there. I think his starting days are short numbered, and they just need to move him back to the pen.
Yeah.
All right. Meanwhile, they got Max Meyer. They're just wasting away. I mean, the only people worse wasting people away are the Pirates with Paul Skeens just letting him just dominate everybody and wasting his arm in the minor leagues. All right, well, we got an interesting slate today, Smitty. We got 10 games. We got a little weather to deal with. I haven't got a chance to check. Let's talk about that a little bit. Have we seen any updates on Minnesota yet? I mean, I know the wind's blowing out, but it's also supposed to be cold and freezing.
I haven't checked here lately.
Let's look while we're here. While we got everybody on, we'll peek at it real quick and see if we got any updates. I mean, I love the wind, but I think the coldness offsets it enough. I think looks like we're going to be okay. I mean, it's going to be in the 40s, but the winds, right? I mean, we can get 30-mile-an-hour gusts there, so that's that could be interesting. And then super cold in Colorado. Looking like maybe a little rain before start, but right, and it's also first game of Colorado, and we kind of have a rule about that. So, what are you liking on pitching today? Because it's I'll tell you, I'm looking at ownership, and my mind is like,
Today I actually like most of the chalk options. I like Joe Ryan and Freddie Peralta. I'm not Clark Schmidt, but the top three I'm pretty good with: Ryan, Peralta, and Flaherty.
Yeah, I mean, in GPP, I can see going Ryan, but man, single entry and 3 max, I'm just, I'll talk about it a little bit, but that's how you win, man, is you go against, if he's 40% in GPP, Ryan's going to be 50 plus in single entry 3 max, right? And you get leverage by going against that. Like my pay up guys I like today, I like Peralta for a pay up against the Cards. So, right, if I'm going to spend the money, I don't think I'll spend the money on Sale versus the Rangers. That's just not my cup of tea as far as ownership goes. And then the Clark Schmidt one, we'll talk about that with the Rays later. That I don't understand. Like somebody needs to explain to me what's going on. He's still like $7,900, right? It's not like he's
not cheap.
He's not cheap. And then we got J-Mont starting tonight. I want to see his pitch count. Right. If they give him 75, I mean, they already got him priced at 92. It'd be so if he's 82, he's way more owned, but I just don't think a lot of people will pitch him. I think Yamamoto's going to be fine, but he's 9,600. Royals have been cold. I don't hate Kremer today. I get Flaherty's upside from a K standpoint. So I like Flaherty at FanDuel. I don't love him at DK. Like at FanDuel, where I'm going to take less punishment from him with his K upside, and it's $7,700. It's there. I'll tell you, my dirty starting pitcher I like today that's like just my kind of play is throwing Marsh against the O's. Listen, I get it. It's the O's. Like, they could torch him for 10 runs, but they're going to be they're going to be super high owned against him today. And like we were talking about the other way of Clark Schmidt, like this is to get leverage, right? He's going to be sub 3% probably today, 4%. And man, at what is he at? $7,000. Oof, that's kind of my kind of dirty pitcher. What do you think about some Marsh today?
He's in my pool, but I know what you mean. In single entry, the Orioles are going to be chalky, but in the tournaments I play, they probably won't be. I mean, you're probably talking 10% or so. I'm fine with that. So.
Yeah, so from a GPP side, guys, right? Like, remember when we're breaking stuff down, Smitty's talking about 100 entries, 75 entries, 150 entries. I'm talking single entry three max. So we want to leverage those different ways, right? Like we want to look at those and play those different ways, and we start talking about it. Think about Glass now in his last start, right? 60% plus, 70% plus, and I literally said, go play the Nats against him, right? Play Abrams, right? Like you start stacking them and it gets real interesting. And then I'm not going to touch Boyle. He's still too cheap. I just can't handle his walks. Like the kid's arm's electric, but I just can't handle his walk upside. That's too much for me. And then what do you think about, Rodriguez with the Jays, just trying to get a few points out of him? I mean, if you're going to punt, like that's where I'm going to punt to.
No, I mentioned that in the article I wrote that he was probably my favorite punt. Instead of playing some of these other cheap guys, I'd rather just go the minimum salary guy. Well, not minimum, but the cheapest you can get here with a pretty solid matchup. He looked good his last start.
Yeah, so same. Like, right, if we're punting, like sign me up there. Like that's the other spot, right? So for like me, I started doing like him and a Marsh, right? Like Marsh and Kremer. Like I might even stack the pitchers in that game in one of my three maxes and then go the O's in another lineup just to, like that's how I think about three max, right? Is how I leverage it. But I might leverage both pitchers in that game. And then, I'm 13-6 into my pitchers. That's it. So I'm not, and then, I'm just not interested in Snell versus the D-backs yet. Let them get another couple starts and then same for me, Sale. I don't want to touch Sale, Heaney. Like Sale's too much, and he's too high owned for that. For me, 20% plus against the Rangers is just too much. So so the team we're going to start. I'm just going to go in order of the main slate tonight, right? So I 100% am going to have a race stack. There is 0% chance that Clark Schmidt gets to be one of the top 5 owned pitchers on the slate, and I don't stack it against him. That's just, that's just a grid spot. And I like the lineup they sent out. They went Yandy, Randy, Richie, Isaac, Harold. So I kind of like that start. I still like working Caballero in. I know Mead's been a little cold to start, but man, he's $2,900. You kind of tap that Rays bottom. And then the other side, I mean, the Yankees are going to hit at some point. At some point, they're going to score. It's kind of like Dodge right now. At some point, they're just going to have a monster game. And they get a lefty tonight. So Soto, I don't care about. But, I think they could one of these days I'm going to see some bats there. Where are you at on this game?
Yeah, I don't mind getting to some Rays. I do like the Yankees. They're showing pretty low ownership going against a pretty bad lefty, and Tampa Bay has one of the worst pins. So the lineup they put out, I do like adding Oswaldo Cabrera, a few of them to the bottom. It makes it pretty cheap.
Yeah, Verdugo's only $3,100, and interesting, they kept him in versus a lefty. So, you know what I mean? Like that little bottom, you can turn and burn there, and get some exposure to that game. Weather is just fine there. Really no issues. But I like that lefty short porch, and heck, I just want to see Fairbanks blow another save for the interview. So like that was great. A's Guardians. I don't really love the weather in Cleveland. Winds blowing in. It's I just don't really have much interest in this game tonight, except a few pieces. I kind of talked to my article today. I think I'm going to like mini stack a few of these games. I don't think I'm going to have one big one today. I think I'm going to kind of nitpick from, 3-4 games and kind of build it that way. Where are you at with the A's and Guardians?
I'm over the field on the A's in my current build. I have, I like them going against McKenzie. He hasn't looked right this season. Like you mentioned, the weather. So I don't really like full stacking them, but I like their cheap bats, and then Giloff, Seth Brown, Blade. They're just so cheap. They make things work.
Yeah, that's where I said, when you start mini stacking, it's Toro's still batting leadoff. He's still $2,900. Like there's a way to, get exposure and get some of these bigger bats in, like the Rangers A's game, right? Everybody's expensive. We got Sale Heaney. They're obviously going to, both these bats are going to get owned. What are you liking from these sides?
I like the Rangers as one of my leverage stacks today.
Yep.
I'm over the field on them. I like that lineup. I like Heim. Wenzel's cheap. Really,
Yep.
they're really affordable.
Duran's only $2,800 today, guys. Like he's got a nice ISO versus lefties. Like that's I think that's a good spot there. Just keep in mind, Wenzel. I love that he's only 2K. There's a chance they pitch hit for him. So just know if you play him, you might only get 2. Hopefully you get 3, but you might only get 2 at bats out of him. So they might throw a Jank or Carter in there to offset a lefty bat later. And then it's the Braves. Like I'm always going to try to have a little exposure. I don't know how much today, but they're always going to project well. And the guy I like there, and now especially now they got him second today. I mean, they boosted his price, but man, I've been even playing a single Arcia there a ton, because if you read my articles, I just could say it, he's too cheap, and he's been hitting great. Now they got him moved up to the 2 holes, so I definitely, even if I don't stack that game, I like getting some Arcia exposure there.
Yeah, I'll probably be slightly underweight to the Braves, but like you mentioned, I like the mini stacks like Arcia. I don't even mind David Fletcher just to punt second base.
Yep. Yeah, Darrenon's a little too high for me at catcher at his price. So, like, that just gets me, I like him, but it just, trying to work that bottom. And then same issue with Duvall, right? Like, hopefully you get 3 at-bats, but if you play Duvall, just know there's a good chance right there. They'll swap him, for Jared. So that's there. And then I know you love the O's. So, I kind of broke down what I think there today. Massey's back. He's still cheap. I said the other night, we didn't get all the runs we wanted, but I'm like, Renfro's going to go one of these days, and this could be the day. And then he finally got one out. But Sam, that's where I'm going to mini stack a little bit. And unless you've been under a rock, Colton Cowser and Westberg are just knocking the cover off the ball.
Yeah.
So, you like any of the KC side?
Not really. I don't mind some one-off bats. Creamer gives up some power, so I don't mind getting to Bobby Witt. He's kind of expensive, but I like Maikel Garcia has been good.
Yeah. So I don't mind pivoting down to like a Vinny at first base if I don't go cheap, versus the 6K guys. So, and then the game I'm excited about. I get why everybody's going to stack against them, but we just got the lineup, and we got some interest. We got an interesting lineup now for Detroit, and I'm really, really sad, but Riley Green is not in the lineup, which totally changes how I want to play them today. For the record, he was my moonshot and my cover boy today, and he's literally not in the lineup. They're starting like Wenzel Perez is batting second, so whatever you read and I said about Detroit, it's off. We literally just got the lineup. If Green is in there, I would have liked that. I'm still gonna. I like Comet 4,100. I like Torque, at 45. Carp's not bad at 35. Give me a little. Meadows is cheap at $3,000. If he gets you a couple stolen bases, if he can get on. And again, guys, it's just leverage off of, what's going to be a very high-owned Ryan. And I think he's going to go higher now with this lineup.
Yeah. I'm overweight to Detroit in my current build because basically just for the leverage, like you mentioned, just they're mixing with some of the, say, like Orioles stacks that are a little chalkier. I have them combined. Yeah.
So, I'm going to lower my exposure. Like, I was pretty sure that was going to be like a heavier single entry. Like I was going to go that route, but without Green in there, I just don't like it as much. Now, if I don't play them, they're also going to score 12 runs. So, how that goes. And then what do you think of the Twins versus Joker tonight?
I have a little bit of Twins, but it's mainly just as one-offs. I like Kyle Farmer or Trevor Larnach. Nothing too crazy there.
I like Jeffers because he's batting second, right?
Yeah.
I like him up there at the top. He's been hitting the ball well. Same Larnick's 2,400. I don't hate Castro tonight, right? If he gets on, he'd probably steal a base, but this is just one, right? The total 7 in this game. So, but the wind, it's just, I get it's cold, man, but man, the wind's going to hit 20, 30. Like if they get a couple fly balls that hit 30-mile-an-hour winds in the air, they're going out of that stadium. So even with the cold, it'll be close. I'll talk to me in Discord. I'm torn on that now. And then Brewers Cards. I really like Freddie today, like I talked about earlier. He's my pay up. I won't have any exposure to any Cardinals bats. I'm not going to go Brewers tonight, even though I get it going against Gibson. They're probably going to be low owned. I think there's some other spots I like.
Yeah, I like Freddie. Like you said, he's my favorite pitcher too tonight. I want all the Freddie. No cards for me, but I do like the Brewers. They're the only thing is Jake Bowers isn't in the lineup. I liked him, but
oh my gosh, I hadn't even got down to there. I've been so busy when I did my write up. I had Bowers in. I mean, I don't hate Dunn. Like I like Dunn, but Dunn's prices come up to 3,300. Like I like a cheap Bowers in there. Oh,
Frelick leading off, nice.
Yeah, I like that. Right, like you can mix him in if you want some leverage there. And then we got, what's going to end up being owned because it's Coors, but, wind blowing in, cold. I'm just avoiding this game tonight. What are you doing with Colorado and Seattle?
I am, I'll be underweight to both teams. If anything, I like the Rocky side a little bit more.
Yeah, I think the Seattle's going to obviously project well, but it'll be interesting to see. So, all right, we just got a O's lineup. Yeah, it's what we expected. Gunner, Rutsch, O'Hearn, Santander, Mount, Mully, Cowser, Westy, Holiday. So, all right, nothing crazy there. Same. I just Hancock too. I mean, if it stays cold like this, I don't hate going Hancock either. A little bit of pitching just because, man, go look at that K rate on those guys.
I was going to ask you about that.
like look, that's a lot of red, man. Like that's a lot of red for like, you know what I mean? And it's just I got to dig a little deeper. Like give me 30 minutes after the show. I'm probably going to add a little Hancock to that pool looking at that lineup now. Like good golly, man. What's that? Their K rates aggregate is over 30%. Like good grief. Do we got an for that game yet? Let me go to matchups here. Let me see if we got an there because I really take that into consideration. We got Kuzi, we got Phil behind. No, that he's for the Cards. Oh, we got Knight. I don't know. I don't hate Knight. I think Knight's actually a decent pitcher. Oh gosh, Ryan's going to be 60% owned. Barrett's behind the plate now.
Yeah, I've seen that.
He's like. I'm just gonna play a Detroit, like a 3 or 4 man Detroit stack. Like I'm gonna have it in there, just for like. And again, I'm either gonna lose all my money or win a ton. Like there will be no in between for me. So, gosh, it's so annoying. Let's get down. Blue Jays Padres. Like I said, I like Rodriguez. Not really on the Jays tonight from a single entry 3 max point. I'll continue with Profar. I want to see where he lands in the lineup. If they keep him, 5th up, like I might have some exposure there. But like I said, my main leverage in that game is I like Rodriguez.
Yeah, I have a little bit of interest in the Jays, but mainly as mini stacks. I like a Biggio, Justin Turner, Kiermaier. I kind of like them 3.
Well, that's the fun of playing 100+ lineups as you get to play a few more of those guys. What about Yamamoto tonight? He's gonna have really low ownership against this Mets team. He's probably one other like really high price guy. I don't hate it as ownership. If he stay low owned, I kind of like the leverage there. I'm interested to see what lineup the Mets put out here.
Yeah, I like him. I think he's one of the best real pitchers on the slate. Maybe not yet, but he's going to show it soon enough, and I'd rather be early on it.
Yeah, and I mean, if they run a bunch of the lefty bats out, right, Batty and Stewart and those guys, which I think they probably will, they have a decent K rate. And again, if nobody pitches them, I like it. Again, the Dodgers are just always in play for me. Hernandez gets a lefty. I always like playing him against lefties. I'm just going to play Mookie until he's like I'm trying to play Mookie and Shohei. I like Freddie today. You know, Pages is still going to be really, really cheap, most likely in that lineup. Same if he's starting tonight, I might even just like one, if you mix him with Mookie or Shohei or Freddie, you can get, and Hernandez, you can kind of get a little 3-stack and not be overpriced if you go some Detroit or that side of it. And then we got the Boris rivalry for our last game of the night. Mr. Blake Snell and J-Mont making his debut. Again, I haven't seen a pitch count yet on J-Mont. I've been kind of trying to find one, but I've had a crazy day. So if they let him throw, 75, 80 pitches, I'd be a little more excited. If they say 60s, and then Snell just doesn't feel stretched out. The D-backs are, we've been telling, everybody did great. When I told everybody the other night, hey, this is just crazy. Nobody's playing them. It's hard not to play them, but it's Snell, and if this is the game he clicks, I'm not going to have crazy exposure in 3 max to them.
Yeah, I don't have a ton of exposure to either team. I think they're both okay. I have more Diamondbacks than I do Giants.
And keep in mind, the books have this game at 7. They got it at 7 for a reason. We don't see a lot of 7 games, get to 13 runs too often. So, and an interesting note, Atlanta, Texas opened at 10.5. It's down to 9.5. So that kind of stood out to me. And then, we have Tigers, Twins, and Brewers Cards both at 7 tonight. So those are kind of, I look at that stuff, guys. There's a reason those guys are making billions of dollars a month. They have a pretty good idea. So, we do look at team totals and that kind of thing. So it'd be interesting to see. Yeah, agree, Devin. Love the Brew Crew tonight. Again, nobody's going to play them, right? When you give me somebody that just nobody's going to play, that's just my kind of side. And I've done it now. And it's cost me, so I'll just transparently, it's cost me probably 3, for sure 2, if not 3 slates of good sized binks now, playing too much ownership because of the projection. Oh, there we go. Coors just got postponed.
Oh, did it?
Thanks for the update. So that makes it easy. Like I said, that weather was looking kind of gross there. So that's kind of why I give everybody the heads up in the article.
I know there was a chance of snow there too, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's 30 degrees, right? It's April. So, well, that makes it easier. Mike will be excited for a doubleheader tomorrow, most likely. So those are Mike's favorites. Always tell him you just love doubleheaders. So I'm going to let you talk about your moonshot because I got to pick a new one. My guy isn't starting.
My moonshot tonight is Zach Geloff. I kind of like some of their Mays.
Dirty. I like it. I like dirty. So, and then, man, I'm going to go, main slate now. Who do I really like value-wise? We'll stick with that same game. I'm going to go Torque. So we'll go Spencer Torkelson. You get him around 5. You get him 500 at MGM right now. So we'll go Torque. They definitely juiced the ball back down. If you guys haven't noticed, they opened the season with the big juicy ball, and then look at the barrel rates. The last little over a week now, and the EV on that. So they're switching the balls around. So keep that in mind. But yeah, it's and then value wise. When I look at bigger odds tonight, I kind of like Vinny at, Vinny's going to get 700-800, so there's some spots we'll check out and we'll have some stuff up in Discord shortly. If you guys got any questions, hit us up. in Discord. We'll be around. And otherwise, let's go have a good weekend.